This video is created by Sunil. The content presented here is from chapter 6 of his book, Wake Up. They control us from other dimensions. The universe is so diverse, everything is different from one another. The size, shape, color, structure, and behavior of every individual, regardless of being animate or inanimate, exhibit the difference to some extent. But when we dive deep into the ocean of knowledge to see the composition of ourselves, we find nothing different in all of us. Every matter we see or feel in the universe comprises a fundamental block, vibration or energy. There is no absolute rest state of the particles. Particles vibrate or move due to the imbalance of energy inside and outside them. A mass may be seen in a rest state, but its composition or fundamental elements are in vibration mode. At the quantum level or even beyond that level, the basic structure of all matter is vibrating. So, the one ubiquitous thing in all of us, living and non-living, is the vibration of the fundamental particle through which we all are made up of. We do not know yet if fundamental particles such as fermions and bosons have substructures, but we can imagine that even they vibrate. If something is not made up of another thing, for example, if a boson is a pure boson with no other subparticles, then there is no internal vibration. Those bosons or fermions are in motion with the influence of the vibration of their neighboring particles. They spin, but vibration is different from spinning. Spinning can cause a particle to vibrate, but the vibration may not cause a particle to spin. Then the influence on them is due to the forces from other particles. But if they vibrate internally, they are made up of more subparticles. Let's say we break down further and reach a point where there is no other subparticle. Now, we have reached the final structure, the end, E, particle. This E comprises many rubber band-like forms that could be identical in behavior but varied in size. These band-like structures are created due to the conversion of sound energy into thermal. These structures can expand as well as can contract. They are not tangible things individually, but when they come together to form a subparticle, they shrink, and an electromagnetic field is formed around them. When they come close to each other, the vibration among bands increases. These bands do not fuse because they may be different in size and continuously change their shapes unidentical to each other. In this way, invisible energy made up of nothing can produce something with structure. Those energy bands are the fundamental structures of everything in this universe. In this subparticle level, we all are connected, and we all are one, not many. On the other hand, we all are made up of the same cosmic material, whether we follow some faiths or science, this is a fact. Nothing occupies the same space in this universe, even if there are some quantum twins. This is the reason why we are different from each other. Even the carbon copies of data are not the same. They may have very similar images, appearances, and behavior, but the main thing that makes a difference is the space. They cannot occupy the same exact space even if they overlap each other. It will never happen, no matter how much we try to keep two or more things occupying the same space. Mixing salt or sugar in water is a homogeneous mixture where we cannot see sugar after creating its solution. This does not mean that sugar and water now occupy the same space. If we investigate its quantum world, we will see the particles of them making bonds or sticking with each other. The water itself is composed of two elements that are oxygen and hydrogen. They also do not occupy the same space. Even the fundamental particles, rubber band-like energy structure, do not occupy the same room. Any matter that has any mass cannot compromise its space and not share it with other matters. Even the wave has mass when it is quantized. The quantum wave packets cannot share the room even when compressed. Thus, though we all, living or non-living matters, are made up of the same materials and fundamental particles, we are different at large. There could be slight separation, but this difference in space can significantly affect how a particle or a matter behaves. Because of this separation or space difference, the degree of entropy, universal time, varies in different matters. When we are close to other materials, our vibration tries to synchronize with everything we are surrounded by. Similarly, when twins live together in the same house, their vibration mimics each other. This will prevent them from having the most entropy difference and age equally. In this way, though we all are made up of identical particles, we behave differently because of space differences. Some may argue that the spirit or the soul stays inside the body, occupying the same space as its host body. However, this is not a scientific thought, and no one can solidly prove that the soul exists. If we talk in this metaphysical language, we have an example. People have always tried to understand what the soul is. In 1907, Dr. Duncan McDougall conducted an experiment with 6 dying patients. He measured their weight of them before and right after their death. The difference in weight was an average of 21 grams. Not all of them lost exactly 21 grams, though. In the 1920s, Dutch physicists Dr. Malta and Zalbert van Zelst claimed that the subtle body, the soul, can expand by 1.26 mm and contract by 8 mm. They believed that it was composed of tiny and widely separated atoms, had a density of 176.5 times lighter than air, and weighed, on average, 69.5 grams. Alfred, 2022. We are inclined to believe that it is a form of energy. But our attempts to identify this energy have been unsuccessful to date. Alfred, 2022. If it is some form of energy and has a weight, it does not occupy the same space our body is covering. Though it may be believed to be pervasive throughout our body, the total space covered by the body is greater than that of the soul. By saying this, we have tried to advocate that nothing in this universe shares the exact position in space. In this sense, everything is unique. On the one hand, we have the law of entropy, which says everything undergoes disorder, and there is no exception. On the other hand, the phenomenon of synchronization pushes things to move towards the order, or at least we can say towards the mimicking tendency. For example, 2 or more metronomes with the same frequency but entirely out of phase are placed side by side. After a while, this out of phase will synchronize, which means both or all pendulums will tick or tack on the same side. This is a general phenomenon of collective behavior. Even a weak coupling strength between elements in an ensemble can lead to frequency and phase readjusting of oscillators, i.e., to synchronization. Vyacheslav et al., 2021. The movement of the pendulums follows the movement of the majority of them. Instead of being disordered and producing random tick or tack sounds, they synchronize and produce only one sound simultaneously. Another example is fireflies. These bugs flash lights at the same time along with other members when they are close. If they are separated at some distance, they will not synchronize their flashes, which is the same for metronomes. When they get close to each other in a group of hundreds or thousands or more, they slowly synchronize their flashes even though each has the frequency at which they like to flash. Another example we all have seen but may not have noticed is the clapping sound of the crowd. At first, the clap may sound random and one after the other, but when it is prolonged for a few seconds, everyone obliviously starts clapping together simultaneously, producing a synchronized sound such as clap 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 clap. Instead of having a chaotic thunderous sound, there would be a melodious clapping sound. Why isn't there a disorder? Do we have a different understanding of the meaning of disorder? Or maybe we may have to change the disorder word to change. Perhaps entropy is just a change regardless of its state, which is order or disorder. On the other hand, what we presume as the order may not be ordered for nature. a matter's natural behavior or tendency should be considered the state of order. In this sense, all fireflies flashing the light, all metronomes producing a tick-toc sound, or thousands of people clapping with their natural effort should be taken as order. This may not look or sound pretty, but it is the purest form, so it is in a state of order. When external sources influence the flash or sound or the behavior of something, it loses its natural ability to perform the particular action. Thus, this disturbance that creates a sort of order in the group is the disorder of those influenced. Everything around us, including ourselves, tends to follow the crowd. After serving a few years in the military, a soldier will likely mimic the march of anybody who walks next to him. We get influenced by many things and everything, knowingly or unknowingly, in our life. Generally, we can predict the behavior of a person who always hangs out with robbers or bad guys. No matter how strong his willpower is, he will fall for evil deeds one day. This is the power of companion, we say. In other words, this is the hidden secret of synchronization, due to which an individual tends to mold himself gradually to fit into the group. Though the final consequences of the group activity are pleasant, it is still a disorder because some individuals must change forcefully. The fundamental and essential nature of all of us are the same, but when we talk about a group of individuals, such as our body parts, the nature of it may differ, as we discussed it numerous times earlier. It is easy to lose an individual's identity when it connects with a group to perform a certain job as its duty. If a human kid is raised by a pack of wolves, the kid howls and behaves like a wolf. He forgets that he is human until he sees another man. No matter what, we all tend to get influenced by our surroundings. A rose flower may smell amazing and lure all of us until we dip it into human waste in the sewer, because the sewer as an environment of the dipped rose compels the rose to lose its fragrance, which is its identity. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe once said, "Tell me with whom you associate, and I will tell you what you are." This is not merely a saying, it has an underlying scientific reason. We all are composed of energy, and our physical manifestation is the outcome of the frequency with which we vibrate. We all have our own individual frequencies, as does inanimate matter. We are like a tuning fork that catches the vibration of other tuning forks with the same frequency without physical contact. Anything that resonances with the frequency of itself with that of others gains energy and confidence that makes it more powerful. Sometimes, this power and gained energy take away the existence of things by perishing their physical body. For example, if we apply a resonant frequency to a matter, say glass, molecules of the glass will oscillate at a higher amplitude than when the same force is applied at other non-resonant frequencies. This means that to break the glass, one must scream with a frequency that matches the natural frequency of the glass. If the frequency of the applied vibration does not match, the glass won't break. Also, the applied frequency should have a continuous energy source throughout the process. We all have our own natural frequency. Our cells burst when we get closer to something that produces our resonant frequency and louder and higher energy. Similarly, if the such resonant frequency has just the right amount of energy, our state of being gets energized. This energized state of us could be blissful or mournful, depending on our state of mind. For example, we feel sad when we break up with our loved ones. Then, we tend to drink or do drugs. In that gloomy state of mind, we like to listen to sad songs, which make us even more miserable. Here, a song has a physical frequency that matches the frequency of our thought but not with the natural frequency of each cell. On the other hand, if the resonant frequency matches our organ's natural frequency and if it is more robust, it may kill us. When the proper sound is produced with the correct resonant frequency having enough energy, it can do many more things. The universe is huge, and we are infinitesimal for its size. A swimming pool may be infinitely large compared to the size of an amoeba, but it is not that large for us. Similarly, the universe could be the size of a pool, and we are the size of an amoeba. Whatever the case is, the universe is undoubtedly huge, and it is in expanding phase right now. While it is expanding, the bigger masses break into smaller, creating millions of new masses every hour. After breaking into several pieces, they all fly in all directions wherever they have gravitated. Now, every piece cannot have a 100% similar identity nor the same identity that the bigger mass used to have. We often say a piece of pure gold is still as pure as the main gold from which it was taken. Yes, it is in that sense. But when we talk scientifically without ignoring negligible effects, we surely see differences. The energy level will be different, and the degree of entropy in their atomic level will vastly differ from their parent body. So, the effect of the uniqueness of an individual should not be underestimated. Even though a large group can perform together to exhibit a new characteristic, every individual may differ from the collective identity. It all matters, even if the pieces of rock differ from their original source. The sum of effects of pieces will be larger than that of the whole body in many cases, not talking about the mass here. In the long run, there is a chance that every single piece becomes a completely new matter or at least behaves differently. No matter how long individuals get together to perform a single function, sooner or later, there will be a commotion, and everyone wants to be independent because the sole purpose of the struggle of all is to achieve absolute freedom. If each cell in our body tries to be independent, we, as a multicellular organism which is the supreme organization of cells, will collapse, and our identity as an organism will vanish. To keep this organization safe from that happening, our body has a system of replacing old cells with new ones. Scientists believe that in 80 to 100 days, almost 30 trillion cells will have replenished, the equivalent of a new us, Fischetti et al., 2021. The reason for cell replacement could be numerous, but when a new cell is on duty, it has a manual of its chores handed over by the older one. Why do they hand over the exact same memories to the new ones? It is because of the protocol of the supreme organization. A completely independent cell now becomes a slave and performs its duty until it dies. It successfully executes its role. Look at the cancer cells. They are supposed to commit suicide when there is a defect in their DNA, University of Western Ontario, 2009. They violate the protocol of their supreme organization and do not want to give up, they want to live long. On top of that, they do not perform their duties to support the existence of the supreme organization. Instead, they become a rebellion. What gives them so much power that they dare to go against the inevitable laws and principles of the existence of their organization? We call them infected or cancer cells and want to kill them because they do not go along with the protocol of our body, but when we look from their point of view, only what they want is to survive and live as long as possible. They have realized the importance of freedom and the ability to be alive without following the so-called protocol of a higher organization. They know they are different, they are unique. They are conscious at the quantum level, whereas other cells are still slaves and serve the supreme organization faithfully. They prove that quantum intelligence can make choices even when compelled to forget their true individual identity. The other part of this event is sad because when an individual or a small group of individuals raise their voices against such a supreme organization, they are considered the evil of the surrounding society. When survival is more important than an individual's freedom and uniqueness, one forgets who he is and what he is capable of. Nevertheless, the hope of awakening is still there. A hope that one day every individual realizes that they are masterpieces and no duplication is possible forever and ever. This is all for today. Thanks for watching.